Lumix S9. I want to address final thoughts about the launch of Lumix S9, about the product that it's called Lumix S9, about the marketing message, about the influencers, and some tips and tricks about the limitations of the camera and what you should pay attention when you are looking at this camera and at the marketing message of this camera. So let's talk about this now. Hi there and welcome to my channel. Tudor Matescu here. I have here real cameras. And I want to show you these real cameras because I want to underline my experience in using different cameras. So I will just list a little my cameras that I've used for a long period of time, cameras that I've bought looking at cameras reviews from the influencers. And some of the cameras I didn't like. The influencers lied to me. This is one of the reasons that I decided to make my YouTube channel, because I was sick and tired of lab tests and of lift tests that were on the YouTube. So I wanted to use my cameras and to show and to share my message with other photographers or other passionate photographers about this hobby. So anyway, I have here Fujifilm X-Pro3, I have here Lumix GX9, a camera that I've praised and I'm still praising on my channel, a great camera that Lumix did. Also here we have Ricoh GR3X, X-T30 Mark II, Fujifilm X-T5, Sony A7C Olympus with a great Lumix lens, and Leica MP240 with a great Leica lens. Some of them are great for videography, some of them are great for photography, and some of them are great for photography and videography and vlogging, like Sony A7C. So taking this out of the way, let me address the 4P of marketing. The product, it's not the result of an engineer. It's not the result of an idea that an engineer had. It's the result of a marketing team. A marketing team, it's basing the design and the ideas of making a product by studying the market. They look at the market, what the market wants. Does the market wants a Lumix S9 product? Does the market has the money to buy a product at this price, at this level of price? How we will place the product? The 4P of marketing. This means how we will target, and this is very important, how we will target our message about our camera, about our Lumix S9, if Lumix S9 is a real camera. This should have been the discussions of the marketing team that decided to make Lumix S9. S9 it's a camera, S9 it's a TikTok camera, S9 it's a vlogging camera, S9 it's a photography camera. What is S9? They didn't have a clear message. And because they didn't have a clear message, they let the reviewers that don't have probably marketing expertise, just influencing expertise, that is not the same as an educated marketer. And I'm also a marketer, 20 plus years of experience in marketing. So they don't have the experience to judge a product for what it is. And I don't know if the marketing team from Lumix served them the idea that Lumix S9 could be a replacement for X106. Also, I had the old X100 series. So even if the marketing team didn't serve the idea, they didn't influence the influencer to say that the Lumix S9 will be an X100V, X106 replacement, even if they didn't so, they did it so by design. They did it so by design. So you have a small full frame camera, what every photographer wants. In general, I want a small X100 full frame camera, and you make by design a small pancake lens. So just looking at the package, another P of marketing, how you package things, the camera is screaming a street photography camera. It's screaming a street photography camera. And by design, you have this message. And then you have the LUTs, and I'll enter again in the details of this LUTs versus Fujifilm simulations, because I see there are some confusion here where users don't know what a film simulation is, beginners. So anyway, you have this message and you didn't help your reviewers to say, take it easy. Take it easy. This is not an X106 replacement camera. This is a unique concept, a new concept. They needed to package the camera in another way, because you can't blame on a photographer or even on a reviewer that he went on this route, because in the end it's a camera. but it's a camera or it's not a camera. Well, this was the problem, the marketing message that the marketing team of Lumix or Panasonic, who was in their team, should have resolved. They needed to have a clear message. The camera doesn't have a clear message like Sony ZV-E1. Why? Nobody, no photographer was upset when Sony ZV-E1 was launched. Why nobody complained? Why nobody complained about Sigma FP? Why? Because the message, the marketing message was clear. This camera is dedicated to vloggers, to videographers, but you also have a secondary function for photography. You can still take great pictures because it's a full frame camera and it's looking great and so on and so on. So, a nice package, Sony ZV-E1, a nice package, Sigma FP, well sought by the marketing team. So again, the creation of the product, it's starting with the marketing team. They decide, we have a market here, we can sell this product like crazy. Let's make the product and let's sell it. But what is the product? What is the product? It's not clear. The marketing message for this car, it's not clear. We can assume by looking at similarities between S9 and X106 and the hype of the X106 on social media like TikTok, that camera was also targeted and is especially targeted for TikTok users or short users and so on, that they want a full frame camera or a camera like X106 and they can't get one. Again, it's not clear. It's not clear and it's not my job to make it more clear. Sony ZV-1, a clear message. Sigma FP, a clear message. Both cameras had electronical shutter. No one complained. I didn't complain. I wasn't lured in believing that Sony ZV-E1, a very small camera, will replace my X100V, X106. Also, I wasn't lured to believe that Sigma FP will replace my Fujifilm cameras, my Sony cameras, my Leica cameras, because it is the smallest camera full frame out there. I wasn't lured on this. If some beginners decided to try the camera for photography, good for them. They weren't made by the messages, by the marketing messages and marketing promotion to believe that Sigma FP or Sony ZV-E1 will replace a true photographical camera. And how we are able to see that this is the faulty message, again, not of the product, but of the marketing message, how we can see this? Because look at the Facebook forums, look at the commenters and so on. Lots of beginners asked and published on Fujifilm X forums and X groups, wow, a camera that will replace X106, finally they did it, finally we have a small camera. So a beginner, I can't blame it on the beginner. The beginner was induced in error by this message, by this faulty message. And of course it's not the fault of the product. It's the fault of the marketing team that decided to go with this message, and also of the reviewers that weren't trained and they didn't have the marketing abilities to think a minute about this camera. I can't present this camera as an alternative to X106 or to other full-frame cameras or to other cameras. I can't put it near a Fujifilm camera because it's far. It's far. I know that it's far. Why do this? Why not target the audience that is targeted? Why the message wasn't targeted to the audience? Some commenters said that you can't blame it on this camera because this camera is not for you, because you are not in that niche. Well, of course I'm not in that niche, but I was targeted by the message. So I have the right and I have the obligation to react and to advise other photographers and videographers that this camera could have some problems, and maybe this is not the camera that they are looking. There are other alternatives out there much better. The next problem, a technical problem that a beginner should know, it's called rolling shutter. In my first video I've addressed the rolling shutter, but I didn't enter in the details and I didn't enter in explaining the rolling shutter. And I will not enter now in the rolling shutter problem, but I will just give you some advices if you are a beginner photographer. Search on the internet, electronic shutter, rolling shutter. Ask ChatGPT. Search on Facebook forums and so on. Ask an experienced photographer about the rolling shutter effect of an electronic shutter. After that, look at a review that is saying that Lumix S9 is great for street photography or for people photography, or after that, read a blog that is ranking very well in camera reviews that is saying that the rolling shutter can be embraced artistically. So how could I not react, and how could a normal photographer not say, wait a minute, this is not art, This is a flow and a big flow. So, rolling shutter, effect of an electronic shutter. Do your homework, and after that, dear photographer beginner, asked and published on the forums if S9 it's a replacement for a real camera. Now I want to address on the Fujifilm colors, on the Sony colors, and also a little what Gerald Aldan said in his latest videos. First of all, I'm not a big fan of Gerald Aldan. I don't think his tests are scientific tests. They didn't help me at all. On contrary, when I've decided to buy Sony cameras, I was lured in believing by him that the Sony colors are okay. No, the Sony colors aren't okay. I've bought Sony A7R III, terrible Sony colors, after I had Sony A7S. Now I have Sony A7C Mark I. Again, the colors are a little better, but still there are problems. And also I'm hearing that the Sony colors are still great and they are still better now and they've improved the color science and so on. So I can't believe it anymore. This is why I'm not buying for the moment another Sony camera. Yes, I'm seeing with my eyes that the colors are better, but from A2 to A3 and so on, there were lots of lies regarding Sony colors. Gerald Aldan said many times that the Sony colors are colors that are realistically, and this is why we don't like them, but others have a hue and are more pleasing. So lots of confusion there, And now I'm getting to the Fujifilm colors. Again, Sony user, Lumix user, Olympus user, Leica user, Ricoh user, Nikon user, Canon user. I've also used those cameras. So I have lots of experience with all these camera brands and camera colors. And the only camera brand that is helping you get straight out of the camera great JPEGs is Fujifilm. And you can't say it's not Fujifilm if you didn't use a Fujifilm camera, if you didn't use a Fujifilm film simulation and make a departure between a film simulation and a film recipe. The film simulations are the standard JPEG profiles that Fujifilm is offering on their cameras. They also have a dedicated website. And if you use Fujifilm film simulations, and especially classic negative and nostalgic negative, one of the latest film simulations, you'll discover as a user that that film simulation is really acting as film. The only camera that is getting a little close to Fujifilm film simulations is Ricoh GR and Ricoh GR3X. I have Lumix here, I've played with the controls. Yes, you understand just looking at my face. I get some results, but are far away from this. On Sony, you get some results, but are far away from a Fujifilm camera. So take a camera, a Fujifilm camera, use it for a long period of time, know the settings, know the film simulation, not the film recipe, and then you will understand what I'm saying here. So Fujifilm film simulations are really something. You can put a lot here, but don't expect that you'll have a reliable lot. This is the difference between a film simulation made by Fujifilm and a lot or a color simulation made by other company. Again, Ricoh is staying well, but not as well as Fujifilm. With Fujifilm, you know what you get in any lighting condition. In any lighting condition, the film simulation will not disappoint you. You'll have consistent colors, consistent clarity, tonality, and so on. I can't overexpose JPEG simulations and presets on other cameras like I can do it on Fujifilm. So have that in mind. On Lumix GX9, I have lots of controls, like on the LUTs I have curve control and so on. Also on the Olympus camera I have this, and I've made many reviews about this and also about this, you can check them out. None of these cameras is able to get as close as possible to Fujifilm. Fujifilm is way in front of all these producers. This is the truth, what can I tell you? And Fujifilm knows, probably, that I criticize them from all my gut when I have the occasion. I criticize them with the XT50 film dial, that is just a film dial, so you change just film simulations and not recipes. Fujifilm knows that I criticize their AF. Fujifilm knows that I've criticized a lot Fujifilm XT50. So why not tell the truth if this is the truth? And if I'm passionate about a future that I like, or if I'm passionate about a future that I don't like, so you could say that I'm hating it, I will express my feelings. So Lumix LUTs or any other try from another company, it's far behind the Fujifilm simulation. You really must use a Fujifilm camera to understand this. Don't believe if you will pull some slides that you can get close. Very few users are able to do this. Yes, I'm seeing pro photographers that are very good, that they are able with a Sony camera to get even better color than Fujifilm. But those are professionals, very good professionals, and they are very unique, very unique. A normal medium user will not be able to get there. Now, what matters in the end? Well, for a reviewer, it matters to gain trust and not lose trust. So if I would have been invited to an event like this or sent a camera to me like this, probably I would ask many questions. For what is this camera? How you want to present it? Because for me it's not clear. It's looking like a crippled X106. It's a full frame, a dream of a street photographer with interchangeable lenses and small, but it's crippled. You can't use it for street photography. So why would you want to compare this camera even side by side to X106? It's the biggest mistake that a reviewer could do. So it was also the duty of a reviewer to ask questions and to know something about marketing and how a product is marketed towards the people who will buy it. If this is a TikTok camera, let's compare it with TikTok cams. Let's compare it with iPhone. Let's compare it with other apps, with other cameras that are out there, because there are also other cameras out there that could compete with this camera for short producing content. Let's compare it like this. Stop comparing it with a product that it's in another league. Call it from the start like ZV-1, a content creation vlogging camera that can also take pictures from time to time when you want it. Stop putting an f8 lens for street photographers. Why would you influence by design photographers to believe that that camera will replace X106 or other street photography camera and believe that you can market this product to all the audiences? No, you can't market a product like this to all the audiences. The biggest problem here is the marketing. If you have a clear message like Sony ZV-1, like Sigma FP, then it's okay. But don't call rolling shutter artistically. Don't let reviewers do this. Don't let reviewers induce the people in error. Market the camera for the public what it is and have a clear message, and we are all okay. But you didn't do this, and it's normal for the users to comment and to address all the things that they believe that made the reviewers lose their trust and also made Lumix an undecided brand, because any normal potential user looking at Lumix S9 or looking at Sony ZV-1, why wouldn't he or she choose Sony ZV-1? Why? They have friends. They can ask their husband. I don't know which husband, and not an influencer husband, will advise his wife, buy Lumix S9 because it's the next trend, and not buy ZV-1 for your short videos. Who would do this? Why would you do this? Because you have a budget in the family. Why would you do this if you want a camera that will help you produce content and you want a reliable camera without limitations, without cropping problems and so on? So who would advise? Because when you are buying a camera like this, you ask for advice, not just look on YouTube. So anyway, lots of marketing problems here. It was a very bad launch from my point of view, and this is it. The reviewers that are lying by omission or by not insisting on the problems, they are doing it wrong. You should insist on the problems. You should advise well your viewership about the problems and the pros of this camera and give an advice for who do you think is this camera. And just invite those people to buy it and stop targeting photographers. If you targeted photographers by design and by reviews, stop calling rolling shutter artistically. This isn't good. And if you want to learn photography and if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my newsletter, check my next videos, and give it a like and share my videos with your friends. Also, leave me your comments and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.